biggest mistake companies make with first-party data?
Don't unlock its value. The first one is you need to expose your signals and your inventory. And AI can really help you do that. AI can do that very, very fast and very efficiently as well.
Hello everyone. Welcome to Tuesdays with Trailblazers, brought to you by MarTech Edge, the video podcast where we bring you the latest trends and insights in marketing and technology. I'm your host Siddesh, and today we have with us Patrick Viau, CRO at Optable. Patrick has 27 years of global enterprise sales experience, customer success, and marketing experience, ranging from startups to large global organizations. So without further ado, let's welcome Patrick. Hey Patrick, how are you doing today?
I'm doing excellent, Sid. It's great to talk to you. How are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you so much for asking, Patrick. We're quite excited to see actually what wonderful insights you have for us today. So first things first, Patrick, I'm sure our audience would love to know who Patrick is and what's his career journey been like, right? So any learnings, any tips and tricks you'd like to share with us?
Yeah, for sure. I've had the luxury being, as you said, Sid, I've been in this space for almost 3 decades now. It shows my gray hair. And, I've had I've been very fortunate to actually go across all different facets of technology. I started my career, I'm from Montreal originally, and I started my career as a consultant in implementing business intelligence systems, and then made my way into showing the solution to the folks. So when I moved to the United States, and I did that for 10 years, and then learned the sales processes across various industries throughout my great time at Oracle and SAP for 19 years. Then I wanted to work into smaller, very agile organizations, and I did that across the U.S. and Europe for the last 12, 15 years now. It's great to hear all the different facets of it. It's also been great to hear like how people use technology, how technology has been evolving over the last like three decades, and I have to say, Sid, being also joining Optable over the last year and learning all about AdTech and how fascinating it is and how it works has been really, really great for me.
Great to hear that, Patrick. Now, coming back to the podcast, we're seeing the AI influence about how organizations collaborate and make decisions around audience data, right? So how do you see AI workflows reshaping the future of audience intelligence and partnership models?
It's a really good question, Sid. And if you look traditionally at what's been happening over the last several years is good premium inventory and signals, they've been very difficult to find. And what agentic approaches expose now is really that relevant first party signals in the inventory for all, from all the media, companies to the advertisers. And what the workflows, they're able to do that because of LLMs, these large language models that really help structure unstructured data and have this process in place so that companies, when they receive briefs, like when media companies receive briefs from advertisers, they can focus on their revenue strategy versus focusing on all the admin work to make it work. And I've seen, lastly, that the partnerships between the buyers and the sellers, there really will be much more facilitated and much more productive on both sides with the AI workflows, as long as it gets coupled with human in the loop interactions. So it really is the combination of both that's going to make it this super successful.
Well said. Now, Patrick, Optable often talks about agentic collaboration, right? So can you explain what agent-based technology means and how it changes the way organizations discover, activate, and collaborate around audience data?
Yeah, it kind of builds on your other question, your first question, which is like what the agents do is they think and act as humans. So you don't have to figure out how to make it work. You basically, as long as you have the right guardrails and you have trained them the right way for our industry, you'll be able to be a lot faster to discover and activate what you need. And what they do, though, is they use this thinking that we have as humans, this great methodology, but they actually apply it at scale. So it allows the first party signals to be utilized at scale, which, humans would never be able to do at the same speed. And as I said, and I'm repeating myself, what's important is you have what's important for us and what I believe is important for the industry is you need to couple this efficiency and this speed with the human in the loop concept to make sure that every single critical point, you have a human making sure that you're doing it right.
Got it. And from your perspective, what are the biggest shifts shaping how brands and publishers approach audience intelligence today?
Yeah, there's a big shift that creates also a big opportunity.
Hmm.
And the opportunity for the publishers, Sid, is really to clearly demonstrate the valuable inventory and signals that they have towards their advertisers so that the advertisers understand where the money is going. And that's been a problem in the industry. Is like advertisers put money in and it's very difficult to understand where it goes. And it's also very difficult for the publishers to clearly demonstrate that value. By having this shift, by being to use audience intelligence together, we'll be able to help win back the share, the market share from Facebook and Google. And I believe that using those processes will create tremendous efficiencies that will be able to radically reduce the ad tech cost. And as I told you, Sid, in my introduction, I'm new to ad tech. And when
Hmm.
I first joined, I'm like, oh my goodness, there's so many processes and steps to go from the seller to the buyer. There has to be a way to make this a lot simpler. And by using agentic collaboration and leveraging audience intelligence, that's the way you make it a lot more efficient.
Well said again. As I said, there is definitely that big gap, like you were saying, and AdTech definitely is the answer to that.
It really is. And I will talk about it a little bit later, but it has to be, something that's, efficient, that leverages the great knowledge that the ad ops people have, that the sales people have on the buy side, the strategies that they want to go together, and they apply these strategies on both sides, put that into agents, and let the agent be a lot more efficient at scale, but by making sure that it follows their strategy.
Got it. Now, Patrick, a lot of organizations have invested in first party data, right? So, but many still struggle to turn it into actual measurable business value. So, how have you seen companies transform these data assets into revenue opportunities?
Yeah. I'll summarize it and I'll give you three different steps.
Hmm.
So the first one is you have to be agent ready. And being agent ready doesn't mean you have to change everything. So
Hmm.
to us, being agent ready is you start the evolution. You don't have to create a revolution. You just have to start now and have to go at an evolutionary pace to make sure that you adopt the agentic collaboration to make sure that you can get there as fast as possible. And we do this on three steps for us. The
Hmm.
first one is you need to expose your signals and your inventory. And AI can really help you do that. After you've exposed your inventory and your signals,
Hmm.
you need the agents to match the advertiser's need to the inventory. So you can expose all the inventory and the signals that you want. It needs to match what the advertisers are looking for. AI can do that very, very fast and very efficiently as well. And third, as you try to connect the sell side with the buy side, this ecosystem is growing rapidly. So you need to connect it using an ecosystem that is interoperable, which is why a few founding members, including Optable, founded as CP a few months ago to make sure that we can do that in this growing ecosystem.
Great to know that. Now, identity continues to sit at the center of audience activation, right? So, how should organizations think about building an identity strategy that balances both reach and accuracy in today's ecosystem?
First off, I'll tell you, I don't think you have to choose one or the other. I think it's important to have both. And I think that it was difficult, a few years ago to do it. You kind of have to choose, but agentic collaboration can help you do both. But before you go there, there are a few thoughts that I believe companies should consider. The first strategy to consider is whether you want your organization to own or rent their identity spine. I mean, we're biased, but we think the answer is pretty evident. I think you want to be in control of your full identity spine so you can own it, monetize it, and make sure you're in control of quality data. So that's the first thing. The first, also when you choose your identity spine, you need to make sure you pick a solution that's independent. And there are fewer and fewer independent solutions in the market, especially for brands to work with to make sure that they are interoperable and also aligning with the interests of both the brands and the media companies. And three, first party data is very, very important. It's very, very valuable. But in today's world, if you choose the right data partners, you can also significantly enhance it with vetted third party data to get even more reach. So the first party data is great. It provides the reach, the accuracy, that you were talking about, Sid. And then when you actually vet it and match it with like good third party data, then you get even more reach.
Absolutely. Well, if I think about it, that makes more sense now. So, Patrick, we're also hearing about interoperability across platforms, marketplaces, and identity frameworks. What new opportunities does this create for marketers, publishers, and data partners?
Yeah. At the risk of being obvious, the most important thing that it does is it enables us to reach and activate outside of wall gardens to get the reach that we need. I mean, don't get me wrong. Wall gardens have got great products, they've got great reach, but the whole ecosystem has been trying to look for ways to go outside of those to make sure they can reach all the audiences. And interoperability does that. This is why whether we believe in SCP, but it's not the only standard. Like you have MCP, you have IAB standards, and all of those best of breed solutions, are able to work together to actually have an ecosystem that can talk to each other, that does not go after 2 or 3 wall garden solutions, but I can go and get the best audience intelligence and the best data across the entire environment. And we believe that it's super important to do so. And we're so happy that these new technologies like MCP and AdCP are there. It enables the small players, the medium players, the big players to play in the same game.
Got it. Now, Patrick, for leaders like you investing in audience intelligence today, right? The number of platforms and solution can actually feel overwhelming. So, what should organizations prioritize when evaluating technology partners and collaboration frameworks?
Yeah, I actually have many, but I'll boil it down to three
Okay.
main ones. The first one is you need to consider long-term independence and viability of your partner. That's super important. Most of these businesses has been, in business for a long time, and they're going to be there for a long time. Building this type of technology, you don't want to change every 3 months. I mean, you can, if you have interoperability, you can, but you want to really look on long-term independence and viability on both the sell side and the buy side. You need to make sure you trust whichever way you come from. Two, you touched upon it, said before, it needs to be built on open standards. This industry, as I said in my intro, is amazing. It evolves every single day. Like not even every week, every day, something good and new is coming. So you need to build on open standards so you can, switch in between technologies, as you see fit. And three, you need to be agent forward with human in the loop guardrails. So don't just go and say AI do the job. How many times have I seen people giving me briefs or things that are cloud generated? It's like, well, that's all made up. So you need to have agents that are trained, agents that have guardrails and have checkpoints with human in the loop to make sure that every step of the way you're making progress fast, but with checks to make sure it follows your policies and your strategy. So 3 things: long-term independence and viability, built on open standards, and agent forward with human in the loop guardrails.
Makes perfect sense, and glad to know about this. Now, as privacy expectations evolve and signal loss continues to reshape the industry, what is it that separates companies building sustainable audience strategies from those still relying on, let's say, outdated models?
We've seen at best of breed companies who do this, and the ones that we've seen, as said, that have success in this environment, they're really leaning really hard into deeply understanding their audiences. So they understand it, they analyze it, and then they use the technology, AI agents, to surface the audience, the attributes, and the segments to the advertising partners to make sure they get an automated and direct way, to actually monetize these audiences. And they try by knowing their environment, knowing their audiences, and targeting directly to have as little possible layers of intermediaries in between.
How much importance is authenticity when audience intelligence comes into play? Because it's kind of being a situation where everyone's talking about audience intelligence, but no one's talking about the authenticity of it.
Yeah. I think it is crucial, and this is how people will be. You were asking earlier about how AI will help or not help. What's happening if you don't have good, solid first party data to begin with, it's very difficult to build an audience and any intelligence around an audience that's going to be valuable to anyone. This is why you need to understand your first party data. You need to study it, and then you can expand it with third party data to make your audiences to have even more reach. And that's very important. And this is why the people will succeed, whether you're an agency or whether you're a media companies, you will succeed by understanding your audiences and by matching it to exactly what the advertisers are looking for. And the good news, Sid, is that if you do that and if you take the time to do it right, you will have a long-term relationship with your partner on the buy side because it will work for their clients or for the whole co to begin with, and then everybody's going to be happy. They'll reach their audiences, and the media owners will actually be able to monetize the valuable inventory.
Well, that's exactly the answer I was waiting for, because this is a question that's been ringing in my ears for a long time, right? Because everyone speaks about it, but no one speaks about the authenticity and how much it is important. And in today's age and time, because of the fact that there's a plethora of information, there's a plethora of audience intelligence available, it's important to understand what is authentic and what is not, right? Because of the fact that it's a make or break in terms of the campaigns that how your marketing operates, the ads that you run. It's kind of a make or break situation when your audience intelligence is not authentic enough.
And you know what? I'll build on what you just said. I could agree with you more. And it's, by the way, I can still hear you clearly now. It's weird. It's a very big difference. So it's very clear because what we see is our clients today, they're all, like the vast majority of them are premium publishers. And there's a lot of value and authenticity coming with this. So when you sell your audience, if you know that's also coming from a company that is authentic, that you can trust, it makes the whole process a lot smoother and a win-win for both the sell side and the buy side.
True. And the next question, I don't think I'll probably put it in the podcast, but there is a genuine question coming from a person who probably is responsible for someone who on the sales side as well as the marketing side. And you being a CRO, this is majorly a question for Patrick, the CRO, right? So what are some tricks and tricks you'd probably share with people who are running revenue based on your experience of being a CRO in terms of how AI is shaping up from a CRO perspective as well? And, what are some tips and tricks you'd probably want to share with folks
You
like
know what,
us?
Sid? It's a great question. First time someone asked me this question, but I'll say it's very similar to what we talked about in the podcast, which is you need to embrace AI, but you always need to be in control of the output. Leverage AI to be an accelerator of what you're trying to do, but always know that what you're providing needs to be authentic, because if not, your whole credibility as a person and as the company you're representing is going to go away. So leverage AI as much as you can, but take the time to review what AI produces to make sure that it makes sense so that as you increase speed, you keep the same authenticity. Because what I was saying 20 years ago and I'm saying now is true in the sales and marketing role. All you have left at the end of the day is your credibility. So you want to make sure that you're always authentic and credible, regardless of how you get your information or regardless on how you engage with either an internal stakeholder or an external stakeholder.
Now, I'd love to switch gears and wrap this up with a quick rapid fire round. And, when we say rapid fire round, I hope we can probably do it in 1 or 2 words or, as quick as possible, whatever comes into your mind. Let me know whenever you're ready.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Great. So, Patrick, what's more valuable today, data or collaboration around data?
Data,
Okay. One word that describes the future of audience intelligence.
speed.
Speed. Okay. Biggest mistake companies make with first party data.
Don't unlock its value.
Okay. Will AI improve audience trust or make it harder to earn?
Drastically improve.
Perfect. Well, those were some cutthroat and, amazing answers, sticking to the point. Well, thank you so much for that, Patrick.
You're very welcome. I very much enjoyed our conversation, Sid. Thank you so much for having me on.
Enjoyed hosting on our podcast Tuesdays with Trailblazers. And thank you all for joining us today. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and leave us a review. Until next time, stay tuned with MarTech Edge for more insights. Till we meet again, signing off, your host, Siddesh.